Hide and seek. Let's play hardball. Good evening. I'm Chris Matthews in Washington. Let me start with the many secrets of Mitt Romney. He wants to be president. He'll tell us that. But why? Besides the office, that is. Besides the honor his father missed. Besides the notion of being America's top winner, that is. Why does he want to be president? To go to war with Iran, waging a new war in the Mideast while escalating two others? To do it without telling us when or how he's going to end it, or, for that matter, those other two? To finance a big across-the-board tax cut, but not tell us how. Not what big across-the-board deductions he'll deny people in order to pay for it, or even what taxes he's been paying himself over the years, or how he'll finance all those popular things in the president's health care plan once he kills the plan itself. Lots of secrets. Secrets because he himself has no earthly idea what the answers are. I'm joined by Democratic strategist Bob Shrum and Salon's Joan Walsh. First, however, we've got two new national polls on the presidential race. Let's check the hardball scoreboard. According to a new Washington Post ABC News poll, President Obama has a 2-point lead, holding there 49-47. Same score in the new Politico George Washington University Battleground poll, Obama by 2, 49-47, same numbers. Well, the New York Times this weekend reported on the two campaigns' ongoing debate preps. Here's what they said about Romney's prep. Quote, Mr. Romney's team has concluded that debates are about creating moments, and has equipped him, the candidate, with a series of zingers that he has memorized and has been practicing on aides since August. Bob Shrum, you've been on that particular role of preparing candidates for debate. What do you make of Romney, a rather stiff customer to begin with, coming off as sort of a Henny Youngman or whatever, some sort of a Don Rickles, I should say, with some zingers? I don't think of him as a zinger kind of guy, to which Obama is expected to be left helpless. What do you make of that strategy?
Well, first of all, if you had it, you wouldn't announce it. It's kind of stupid. Because,
well, why are they leaking it?
Well, I don't know. Because they're trying to hold on to their people, because they're undisciplined. I have no idea. Number two, zingers don't exist in a vacuum. It's not just coming up with some funny lines. They have to be part of the fabric of the argument and part of the fabric of who the person is. When Ronald Reagan said, there you go again, it was completely natural to him. As you know, Chris, by the way, Carter was right. He had opposed Medicare at the start. But when Reagan said, there you go again, it actually sort of discounted everything else that Carter had said in that debate. So they've got to be organic, they got to be natural, they got to be real. I think everybody, at least in the political class who's seen this report, is going to be watching the debate to see if we can sort of tick off, that was the prepared zinger, did he bring it off?
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing is, he's not very good at this. I mean, I know they don't want him to be spontaneous because he'll say the wrong thing. But delivering a prepared, funny line seems to me to be one of the hardest tasks, probably even harder than telling us what's in his tax plan.
Well, as a journalist, Joan, I want your view. Suppose you're watching the debate, as we all will be. Everybody's going to be watching Wednesday night. And you see, which is obviously a confected, a prefab zinger that doesn't even sound like Romney. It's more of a wisecrack, which he's not particularly good at. Something I would do, for example. And he comes out with this thing. And would you, if you were Obama, say, is that the first one of the night? Why don't you just spill your beans now and do all your wisecracks and get them over with? I mean, would you parry him, or would you take it seriously like he actually just thought that one up?
It depends on what it is, Chris. I mean, the great thing about President Obama in the debates with John McCain, it really wasn't so much what he said. It was the way he held himself compared with the way that Senator John McCain held himself. And Senator McCain looked increasingly flustered. He looked frustrated with candidate Obama. I think that the great thing about President Obama is that he does have the capacity to be totally in the moment and to be totally funny. He is funny on his feet. And so, for him to practice what he's going to do in case of a zinger, I think he's got the blessing of being rather spontaneous, and the blessing of being up against someone who is incapable of spontaneity, reveals himself in those spontaneous moments, like the 47% taped remark, to be not a terribly likable person. So I think for the president to practice the way he handles zingers defeats what the president is particularly good at.
Well, actually, Barack actually means in Swahili, blessed one. So you got that one right. Anyway, well, President Obama challenged Romney on the details of his vague tax plan, a plan that almost every expert agrees doesn't quite make mathematical sense. Well, yesterday, Romney's running mate, as Paul Ryan, was grilled about it on, of all places, Fox News. Let's watch.
How much would it cost? It's revenue neutral. It doesn't cost $5 trillion. I'm just talking about the cut. We'll get to the deductions, but the cut in tax rates. The cut in tax rates is lower all Americans' tax rates by 20%. How much does that cost? It's revenue neutral. Lowering tax rates by broadening the tax base works, and you can. But I have to. Let me just. You haven't given me the math. No, but you. Well, I don't have the time. It would take me too long to go through all of the math.
Well, this is not the first time Romney was challenged or Ryan on the vagueness of the proposal. Back in 1994, Romney talked about a plan to tackle health care up in Massachusetts, actually nationwide, but never explained what cost would be, the cost of the program. His opponent in the race back then was Ted Kennedy, memorably challenging him on that debate. Let's watch how it's done. Here's where you challenge your guy to come clean, especially when he can't do it. Let's watch.
They ought to have an opportunity to know, what is the cost of your program?
I don't have a cost to my program.
You don't have a cost.
No, I'm sorry. I don't have the congressional.
I
don't have the congressional budget office.
What will be the cost in terms of the tax incentives that you provide? What will be the impact of that on the budget?
Well, the impact, I do not know the specific number
so
for the impact of that on the budget, Senator Kennedy, and I think it's a wonderful idea to take it through piece by piece. And
that's what you have to do as a legislator.
I understand,
that's exactly what you have to do as a legislator.
Well, Bobby, I don't know where that line came from. That's what you have to do as a legislator, but it definitely won the election right there if you didn't need to. Let me ask you, because that's exactly where we are in this debate right now. Everybody would like a tax cut. Who wouldn't want a tax cut, especially 20% across the board? If you're making it 35, the top rate, you get down to 28. And all that Chris Wallace was trying to get from Ryan yesterday on Sunday was just tell me what big deductions you're going to get rid of so we can finance that. It is the question. Of course, everybody wants a tax cut, but if it's not going to cost bigger deficits, tell us how you're going to do it. And they won't do it. They won't say we're going to get rid of charitable deductions. We won't get rid of the homeowner. We won't get rid of mortgages. We won't get rid of state and local. And that's where all the money is. Right. It's not little doodads here. Joan, you take this one on. He won't tell us. Same question comes up Wednesday night. Can Romney dodgeball it? Can he say, I'm not telling you how I'm going to do the major thing I promised to do, get the economy going through your tax cut, but I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to do it. Can he get away with that with even the middle?
I hope not. I mean, I really think this is a moment for Jim Lehrer to be very tough, respectful tough, and for President Obama to come back at him and to say, look, I'm happy to seat you. Your running mate said that he didn't have enough time on Sunday. Well, that's too bad. That's terrible. In fact, I'm willing to cede you, Governor Romney, all the time you need.
So you think Jim Lehrer, who's a smart guy, is obviously skilled in this business and very respected, could he get away with simply saying, you know what? I've got a little liberty here, a little leeway. I'll give you all the time it takes. Tell us now what tax breaks you're going to get rid of.
Tell us what tax breaks you're going to get rid of. And also, please, Governor Romney, you are very upset about the 47% of Americans who pay no taxes. Well, they include seniors, they include the military, and they include the working poor. Please tell me, Governor Romney, exactly which groups you're going to raise federal income taxes on of those three groups, because you don't like the fact that they're not paying taxes. I think he's a very wonderful man. He's a warm man. He can be tough but respectful. And I think President Obama should help him out by saying, I'm happy to cede some of my time to you so you can go through, so you can take the time, lay out those charitable, lay out all those deductions you're going to take away.
I know that's the briar patch, by the way, to use the old Uncle Remus thing from Walt Disney, because you walk him in there, Bob. You walk him into that briar patch. You say, go ahead, tell us what you're going to get rid of. And all of a sudden, the guy's in worse shape. That's why they won't do it, right? Romney won't tell us what he's getting rid of, because if he gets rid of it, he's killing charitable organizations that need the money from charity. You start capping that. You start messing around with people's mortgages, the one thing they need to build up some capital and some personal worth. You mess with state and local. You're supposed to move. If you live in New York or a high-tax state, Massachusetts, you're supposed to move because Romney got elected? Your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, he's going to slam. His tax cut plan is going to slam about 68% of the American people, not 47% of the American people. Right. So he can't provide real details. You could close every single loophole that benefits the wealthy and just close it for the wealthy, and it wouldn't pay for a fraction of the tax cut he's giving the wealthy. For example, reducing capital gains to zero, which means Romney would pay virtually zero taxes. he's going to come back and he's going to say, well, I want to work this out with the Congress. Well, I just don't think the country is going to trust Mr. 47% and this Congress to play around with taxes, because they understand very well, and the Democrats now have an advantage on taxes, which, as you both know, is very rare. Right. They understand very well where Romney's priorities are. He's for the people at the top.
Joan, why would you want to get rid of the estate tax unless you own $250 million? You don't expect to spend it all while you have time on this earth. You want to divvy it among the kids, right?
Right.
That's a lot of divvying.
And he's also already shoveling money into trusts for his sons. I mean, he has provided us, Chris, with a seminar in tax policy for the last 6 months. We've learned a lot about how our tax code privileges the super wealthy, and I think that too is a very valid area of questioning and concern for both the moderator and for President Obama. How do these policies benefit you, and why have you availed yourself of every imaginable deduction while you're allegedly so concerned about our deficit?
Well, according to the Talking Points memo, today the Obama campaign is shifting its strategy on how to deal with Romney's proposal to explain which tax deductions he'll eliminate in his plan. Rather than call Romney out for his proposal to answer, the president will, quote, warn middle-class voters of the worst and goad the Republican nominee into proving him wrong. It's a lose-lose proposition for Romney, according to Talking Points, because any answer would invite further criticism. That's my point, Bob. In goading him into saying what deductions he would get rid of, he'll either not say, which will make him look like he's hiding out during the debate with Jim Blair and the other guys saying, tell us, tell us, tell us. He's saying, no, no, no. Or he begins to tease a little bit and show some leg and say, well, I am thinking about something to do with the home mortgage thing, or I am thinking about a charitable cap, or something less on state and local. In any case, they'll go through the roof, the voters, the next day, and the headline writers.
Chris, that's really smart, because the question he should be asked that would smoke him out is, do you rule out limiting or eliminating the home interest mortgage deduction, Pell Grants that send middle-class kids to college, the deduction for state and local taxes? If he says, oh, no, I wouldn't touch the deduction for state and local taxes, he opens the door to a continuing process where you say, would you touch this or would you touch that? He doesn't answer it, everybody out there is going to assume that's exactly what he's going to do and that they're going to be hurt.
Okay, real quick, Joan, one sentence. What's the toughest question you got for the best hardball question for Governor Romney Wednesday night?
The best hardball question is, if you don't want those 47% to pay no taxes, which groups are you going to raise taxes on? Well said.
Bob, any thoughts?
Well, for Romney, I got one for Romney, which would be, for the president, rather. Your opponent says that he favored the kind of reorganization and bailout in bankruptcy that ultimately worked for the auto industry, but with no public money. Mr. President, was there private money available? And if there wasn't, what would have happened?
Look,
I'm not Jim Blair. I'm not fair.
That's really tough for Obama.